back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry, and this is like a halo. Today, or tonight, I'm here to talk to you, recommend another A24 film that I just happened to watch, and yeah, this one was good. This is The Spectacular Now, starring Miles Teller, Sheridan Woodley, Brie Larson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Kyle Chandler, with also Bob Ordick. It's a story about a hard-playing party guy, high schooler, and his philosophies in life is really to basically lie, get with any kind of woman he can, and live in the now moment of his everyday high school life until he meets a different kind of girl that changes his perspectives and starting to really figure out the issues that he is facing as to why he believes his philosophy. And I'm going to tell you straight up, this movie, how it starts off like your typical romantic comedy drama teenage, where it kind of approaches it a little bit as a dramedy, as a comedy drama, where you see this guy, and first off, when you kind of get to know him, he's not a likable character. He's not a likable character at all. In fact, he's an asshole. And the guy sleeps with as much women as he can, drinks, parties, whatever. He sleeps on in front of his lawn, and the guy's a mess. And he meets this girl, Shane Woodley, who intrigues him a little bit. And he tries to play her at first, but the more he spends time with her, the more he literally starts to feel how he really feels about her, and they eventually progress into a romantic relationship. And the more that they spend time to one another, they kind of challenge each other about standing up for themselves and to deal with certain issues that is holding them back to live the life that they want, or to find something in themselves and push back, if that makes sense. Finding something that is a flaw and fixing it, basically. So when they challenge each other, Shane Woodley steps up to her mom. So does Miles Teller. But the more he kind of figures out like an idea, like, hey, wait a minute, why haven't we mentioned much about my dad? What's going on there? He goes on a quest along with Shailene Woodley. She joins him to figure out what happened to his father. And when he finally meets him, he doesn't like what he sees. And what he sees, dang, this movie's 10 years ago already. This is actually my first time watching it fully. When he finally sees her, when Miles Teller finally sees his father, played by Kyle Chandler, he basically sees a version of himself. He sees basically a down on his luck, absent, selfish party guy who doesn't really care much about people. He doesn't really care much about. What the hell just happened to my TV? What the fuck just happened to my TV? He sees himself. He sees himself in his father, and it struck him, and Miles Teller gets all agitated. He when he figures out his own flaws and realizes where the source is coming from, he starts to convince himself And this is like a spoiler, I'm sorry, but this movie was so good. He realizes his issue, and his issue is himself, but also is also his father. And he doesn't know how to fix it when he realizes that, and it droves him to the point of where he feels completely lost. And he explains his philosophy: I always wanted to party, always in the now. The guy doesn't know how to, I guess he doesn't know how to grow up. He doesn't know how to take responsibility for himself. He feels, by retaining into the now, and trying to fulfill everybody else's needs, in a way, he ignores himself, I think, by partying and trying to avoid the responsibility of having to look forward and to adapt and basically grow up. When he sees his father, he's kind of not fully, the guy's not grown up. He's not taking responsibility. The guy left. When he finally meets his father and he asks him why that you and mom separated, he's like, I left. Yeah, it was my decision. I left. And that was actually, I thought, was a powerful moment into the film, which honestly, I didn't know where the film was going to go. Like when it was starting into the romantic comedy, but more dramatic sense, then it dived into this father element. And then when it completely introduced that, there's a shocking moment into the film where after that revelation, there's an intense scene in there where Miles Teller breaks down and he plays the victim mode. But you understand why. The guy, I understand where his problem is coming from, and at that moment he doesn't know how to deal with it. So later into the film, he tries to push people away and feels like he is like some sort of menace. It's like some sort of menace. And it wasn't until his mom comes up to him and tells him, don't be like your father. You are not. Do not convince yourself. Which is actually interesting. When people realize some of their traits, some of their flaws are coming from the source that could potentially caused it, or, something similar, it haunts them. It haunts them, and it's a scary thought. Like, what if I become this person? What if I become just like them? And they regress into like some sort of idea that it could be a reality, that they could end up just like the person that they resent. And honestly, this scene almost had me going. When Jennifer Jason Lynch, I think she plays the mom. She comforts her son Miles Teller, and really tries to encourage him and put strength in him. Like, you are not your father. Like, she caresses her his face and tells him, this is one of the best actings I've seen Miles Teller. This guy's underrated. And tells him that you're not your father. Please, like, you are not. And that moment of just peace that he finally that he has, and he chooses to accept, like, you're right, I don't have to. I realize what's happening, why I'm acting this way. I have the power to fix it. And sometimes, that's hard to come by. And nowadays, you have all these influencers popping out that are trying to be role models, and you got to find the right one that that only wants you to succeed. But here, where was I going with this? It's tough. It's tough finding that one right person that can motivate you and to see you where your flaws are, and gives you the choice. Like, you don't have to repeat the same mistakes of your past or somebody else's past. You have the choice to correct it. What do you choose? The next moment you see him adapting to a new choice of not wanting to be like his father, which was a beautiful way that was constructed. It was a beautiful film, and that's one of the first A24 films. I think this one came back in 2013. And wow, I'm actually glad I finally made the time to check this movie out. It's currently available on HBO Max. And which is another thing that reminds me, like the now, the moment, the now, and the now is a good place to be, but you can't stay there for long, because as everything else is moving along, and it's a scary thing to move along, to know what's going on, what to do. It gets scary. Tell me about it. But really, it's really to have the courage to trust yourself, to try one thing, one plan. If it don't work, you figure out into the moment what could happen in the next day, the next plan, and you just keep on going. Just keep on going and learn from it. And that's the big takeaway I took from this movie. James Ponsoldt. That's the filmmaker. James Ponsoldt. I think he also directed The Circle, and then there was another. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen The Circle, but this is probably the only film I've really seen of his, and this is a good film. This was a really good drama. I highly recommend you check it out on HBO Max, currently available, or you can also rent it for YouTube. And well, if it's on Tubi, you could also check it out on Tubi. I don't know if it's on Tubi yet. The Spectacular Now. Have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.